Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we are pleased to return to ExternOS, which does appear to be a little bit less scary than it did last time I looked at the distribution. Now, I wanted to talk about this one, particularly when the latest beta just dropped recently, because that first video I did on eXtern, which was more of like an over the top humor type thing, is still my third largest video on this channel, and I to this day don't even know why. I mean, it's such a cringy video too. Oh, all the did anybody do an tally count on that video? It's got to be pushing 1,000. I mean, um, 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 uh, mm, Oh well, but hey, we can all enjoy a good cringe fest every once in a while. I want to actually start out though by where we ended the last one. So, like I said, this is the third largest video that I have on my channel. It's called ExternOS is Scarier Than Windows 10. And so I think I might call this one ExternOS Now Less Scary Than Windows 10. I'm not completely sure it is yet, but we'll kind of figure it out. Look at this like to dislike ratio. It's like right at a 50%. Very interesting. You always get these controversies around these split videos. But the developer actually enjoyed the video from what I understand. He says, I'm currently watching this developer, not going to lie. The humor and the license part is great. I would like to point out that I was the only developer working on this project at the time. I recently got a team due to the rising interest. I realized this was a preview, so almost nothing works properly. Also about the news, I hear you. It was a test thing. More options will be available. The whole thing wasn't supposed to get as big as it did. I understand your frustrations. By the way, I think this is one of the best reviews of this yet, even though you might lack the background information behind it. Good job. Well, thank you. By the way, I have to address most of this in the several comments in several other videos and long essays, but the gist of it was being extremely honest about every connection in the EULA, which literally none of the Linux distros do. Literally do nothing with the information. I was a single developer, pretty much have no access to anything except if you use the personal assistant, and I never went out of my way to look at that. The AI itself uses this information to improve itself and enhance collection. Again, you don't need to use this. All right. So basically, we were looking at a system, which actually I don't remember seeing it on this time. I'll look for it this time. So he's basically saying, yeah, a lot of the various parts that we're using have different elements, and some of that he has access to, some of it he doesn't, things like that. In fact, I don't recall seeing the EULA this time around, so that's neat. Edit the news thing being forced on you is due to a bug you couldn't fix on time, so just decided to force it on you. That was one of the criticisms I had, which I believe is now resolved. You can go on now without adding news. Just a preview, so it shouldn't hurt to add anything you don't care about. Yes, I care about privacy. That's pretty much why I insisted on using DuckDuckGo for everything where possible. MusicBrainz is also free and open source platform, hence why I choose it instead of like Spotify or something. I'm going to be adjusting this in the beta too. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at their current website. And this website has updated itself a little bit, although we still don't have a lot of information. Now, it is based on Ubuntu. That's what I didn't know in the previous video. It's like I knew it's based on something, wasn't exactly sure. It is based on Ubuntu, and I'm not seeing it on the page exactly which one. We can hunt around and see if we can find that information. There's a nice intro video for it. One of the things about it is it still looks weird and flashy. You're either going to love the UI or you're going to hate the UI. I think it's an interesting take. I'm not sure if I would actually try and get a lot done with it, but I think that'd be a fun challenge. Let's try and run this for a week or two on a computer and see if you can actually get stuff done on it. That would actually be a neat thing to try out. In fact, I might do that if I have a spare drive laying around here somewhere. I very well might try that just to see what would happen with it. Powered by NW.js. Minimum system requirements 1.2 gig or equivalent better, and 2 gigs of RAM. Display 366 by 768 screen resolution, and it does require an active internet connection. This will not be the case in later. Now, I did check the already installed version. If you already have it installed, it will boot without an internet connection. I didn't poke around a lot, but it does appear to work without an internet connection once it is installed. For the installation, my guess is you're still going to have an internet connection, and we're going to go ahead and maybe walk through that and have a brief look. So before we jump into the actual full-fledged review of everything, the first thing I actually want to do is let's go ahead and look at the desktop as what the ISO here looks like. So we can start it as the beta. We can start in compatibility mode. Boot from a local drive, and I still think that picture is creepy. In fact, it's kind of looks like something off of like a horror show or something. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what the difference is, why this one booted in my full screen and the other one did not. Now, this connection here, this VM does not have a internet connection, so we're kind of testing if we can move beyond here without an internet connection. My guess is going to be no. And it says, let's see, local connection. Not currently connected to the internet. Let's go ahead and skip. All right, so here is the news sources again. We have a couple tech crunches. We have The Verge, we have CNN, and we do now have a skip button. So that's actually good. And then we could install. Now this virtual machine right here actually does not have a hard drive on it to even attempt to install. So once you go ahead and click through on that, it just kind of drops you right on the desktop. And I do actually have this installed on virtual machine. He actually says it won't work on a virtual machine. Eat your heart out, buddy. I have it working perfectly fine installed on a virtual machine. So we're going to go ahead and show you that one before we poke around here. Now, again, this one, no internet connection. I do like the look of it, but to actually show you what the rest of it looks like, we're going to close out of this, and I'm going to boot up my actual installed version so I can show you a few little odds and ends I found over there. Okay, so here we are on the desktop that is actually installed on my system. And when we look around here, we have a variety of different tools. So, we have, here's our assistant. What would you like to do? Are you an NSA spy? Yes, I'm an NSA spy. How did we know? Oh, Lordy. Oh, Lordy. No. How do I close it? I don't even know how I close it. There it is. All right. So it's an NSA spy. I guess he knew everyone was going to ask that. So that's kind of fun. A little comical here. One of the things I do notice here on the little pop-up bubbles here, the pop-up bubbles are not moving outside the bounds of the container. So this is notifications. This is network connections. You can see the volume, but you can kind of see at the screen that it's actually cut off. I can't pull that up. Let's see, what's that? Okay, that's your wallpaper switcher. I've not figured out how to add more things to this panel down here. We do actually have a terminal now, though. That's one of the things I could not find in the previous version. I could not find the terminal. We do have our files here. Now, let's go ahead and start by looking at the UI real quick. This is going to be over the top for a lot of people, especially in the modern era. I think it is absolutely cool looking. This is just, it looks really nice. Now, I'm not seeing how I can access my network drives. Let's see, search in this folder. This is just basically a search. It's not detecting the network drives that I have. And so I would like to be able to see that. Maybe I could mount one in the terminal, although I don't remember all the commands to do that. I also have an app store that apparently doesn't have any apps in it yet. Or maybe you need to log in order to use the app store. So here is the ability to do a login, which I'm not going to create an account on ExternOS. So what I was actually able to do is, since we have a terminal, is I was able to boot this up and go in and install some applications that I wanted to use. But then we had the problem that they would not show up on the menu. But if you head up into the system settings, there's a variety of settings in here, and one of the settings was, it was hub and desk. You need to turn this option here for native Linux apps. Turn it on, turn it off. So let's go ahead and turn that off and head on back to our main hub. If I go ahead and click into my all apps here, you see the only things that we have are the system apps that they give us. The dev kit, music, photos, live, ExternOS tips, terminal, and their web browser, which kind of has almost a Microsoft Edge feel to it, right? So there's really no UR bar. It's just here, although you can type in a URL. Let's go ahead and search for something, see what we get. So our default search is DuckDuckGo. That is good and refreshing to see. So many distros, even there was the one that's like, we're the green place, and they have pictures of Ecosia set up on their desktops, and they still default to Google. Like, what? What are you doing? These guys, hey, they set it to DuckDuckGo on their search engine. So very interesting to see. But I did want to go ahead and install some extra applications, and it took me a little bit of time to figure out how to actually show them. Well, you need to go up into your hub and desk and enable this native Linux app. Now you can go in here and select your Fahrenheit. And again, it is pulling our IP address, and I can't change this. I've never heard of a Linglestown, PA. In fact, let's go ahead and pull up our web browser and see if I can figure out where Linglestown, PA happens to be. Being a Pennsylvanian, I've actually never heard of it. So Linglestown, PA. Usually it connects to Lewistown. Linglestown, PA. All right, it's a place. It's a place. Let's see where Linglestown is. Linglestown. In Dauphin County. All right. Well, here's the good news of this: is it doesn't quite know where I am because I'm here, not here. Here, not here. Here, not here. This is a good 100 miles away. So, hey, I'm okay with the thing. If the thing thinks I'm 100 miles away, I'm down with that. Sounds sweet to me. All right, let's go ahead and poke around a little bit more. Now that we've turned on the all apps, still doesn't show us anything. But if I go to Linux apps, of course, I installed my Qt and my GTK test applications. So over here, we have FileZilla. Now, one of the things about the theming is sometimes it will give you nice transparency, sometimes it will not. And I was expecting that to give me transparency. Let me see if I can search for Sigil. I know Sigil gave me some transparency when I was testing this. Yeah, I'm not sure why we're not getting... Oh, we are. There we are. There's the transparency I was expecting to see. All right, there we are. Now we got transparency showing up everywhere. So we have these slight transparencies across everything. Overall, the theming, your menu items are pretty old, and they don't look quite as flashy as the rest. It'd be nice if we had the ability to change that. There is a place to change theming, but I'm pretty sure it's not really in yet. As far as your title bars and things, though, everything else, though, it seems pretty consistent across the board. So again, you're either really going to love this or you're really going to hate this, and there's probably not going to be a lot in between. We do have other options for well, never mind. We don't have user profile options. Here, no, sorry, I would have fonts either. How about the appearance? Hey, we have a little bit of appearance, and you can see what the stuff is going to look like, but I didn't actually see any way to adjust anything. So my guess is, once again, they're going to come in here and be able to change some things later. So as far as window control buttons, you can do opacities. So if you want to make things more or less opaque in your control buttons, you can do that. Window, let's go with a little bit lighter on that. So you can kind of set up your background there. Here's your basic background. Okay, so you can set your background colors a little bit more. Let's go with some deep, that's like a shade of red. Can I go with something that's not quite a red? Oh, there we go. All right. I don't have the color wheel there, but let's see. Let's see if I can find me a good yellow for Switch to Linux. Of course, I'd kind of want it a little bit more on the darker side, of course. All right. Ooh, that looks like somebody vomited in my soup. All right, let's try that. There we go. A little bit of faint red. And then we can do, here's our buttons. Not seeing what our... Okay, there's where the button is adjusting there. You can see a variety of different colors and things. So you can actually do a pretty good amount of theming around here. But that's actually more than I found when I was first experimenting with it. Wallpapers. So we have a variety of wallpapers. Of course, the default there is in here. So actually, I do like the default wallpaper the most. This is such a beautiful design for the wallpaper. So let's go ahead and go back to the default design there. We have display, we have sound. Everything does look very nice as far as if you wanted to change your resolution. So everything is a pretty nicely designed layout. Again, it's either going to be, you're either really going to like it or you're really going to hate it. Current location is Linglestown, PA. You can change your location there. I wonder if changing your location is going to... I wonder if that's going to change your, not states, state college. Let's see if we can find state college in my list. I want to see if that changes the addresses as well. So changing your address does actually change your weather. However, I assure you it is not -5 degrees in state college right now. It is indeed partly sunny. I will confirm that. And what the wind is, I don't really know. I haven't been out there. I can tell you it is not -5 though. So there's something a little bit off from that. Maybe it's negative. Do I have a phone nearby? I don't even have a phone nearby to check. I'm just saying maybe it's -5 Celsius, but there is actually a place in here where you can change the Fahrenheit versus Celsius. Let's see what the Celsius is. Okay, so here's what my guess is that it's actually reporting your Celsius. And even if you change it to Fahrenheit, okay, there it goes. Okay, so we just had to toggle it off and toggle it back on. So a little bug in the system. 24 Fahrenheit. I will believe 24 Fahrenheit. So, okay, you go in and you change your date and time, change your location, and that will update what is in your address bar. So, interesting. There's nothing in the advanced. And like I said, one of the downsides is I could not figure out how to add anything to this bar. I'm not sure if you can yet. Maybe there's a setting there somewhere. If the developer's watching this one, let me know. Can I add something to that bar? Now, as far as on the desktop itself, we have this files panel over here. Those are inside of the system folders, and we have our drives over here. So that's kind of neat. And where those are that's under the projects folder right here. So if we double click through there, presumably if we add something to this, then it will give us the ability to, perhaps it'll give us the ability to see the files there. And I'm not sure if I add something else to the desktop, if that would show up. Let's try this. Let's go, where's our web browser at? Of course, I did install Firefox on the system as well. So let's go back to Linux apps. Apparently, it's still remembering the search that I did. Okay. Let's go to Firefox. See how Firefox works here. Okay, so again, here's how Firefox looks. If we give it a moment, I think we will actually get transparency on Firefox as well. Okay, well, let's do... This is my book server, my internal book server in my office. So let's go ahead and get this one here. No, don't open it, just save it. Okay, so now you'll see that we got transparency over Firefox. So it just kind of showed up kind of randomly there. All right, we downloaded a book. Now let's go into our system files. That should be under our downloads folder. And let's go ahead and drop this guy. Can we drop it into home? Not sure I can drop a file anywhere. Let's cut it. Let's go into home, desktop, and paste. Okay, so that did not show up on my desktop when I put it on my desktop. Doesn't show up there. Now let's go ahead and drop that into the projects file and see if that shows up. So not sure how to grab a file that's on my desktop there and how to actually show things in my desktop other than possibly being in that projects and folders file there. Let's go ahead and move and paste the file there. Hopefully now that shows up right here. It doesn't. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe it'll show up on a system reboot or something. Since the whole system's based on JavaScript, it's going to have to show up itself somewhere. So, okay, we obviously have a few limitations on putting things on the system itself. So I'm wondering if, what's this? We found a settings. We found a settings panel. Apparently it's broken. It doesn't do anything. Okay. And the theming was a little off on that one. There's parted. There's some other tools. So I don't know if I can try to run this or not. I mean, I'd have to be able to access files somewhere and things. But it would be an interesting trial to run. See if you could actually get this guy running. I wonder if I installed CairoDoc or something, if I could throw a CairoDoc on it. That would be neat to try out. But anyway, this is the new ExternOS. So it's coming along. I'm still not sure I'm going to recommend the thing necessarily, but it's definitely is a very intriguing system. You're either going to love the UI or hate the UI. I would love to see if I can add things to this panel down here. If I could add things to the panel, if the developer watches this, if I could add something to the panel down here, or maybe even boot up a couple options. Can I boot up another option? Can I right click? Can I boot up two options of these guys simultaneously to work with, but multiple windows side by side? If I could do something like that, what do you guys think about doing a challenge week on ExternOS? Yeah, maybe we can recommend this to the Big Daddy Linux challenge, right? Everyone run ExternOS for a week. That'd be epic, right? As far as a few of the other minor fixes I showed up, obviously we talked about the news. The one thing that I did notice on the previous version is anytime you get near the top, you get this pop-up, pop-down close button. They integrated that into the panel here, and I think the integration looks good. I liked the way it looks, okay? And I'm probably going to be a minority in this flat UI, modern, material design world, but I actually like stuff that looks like this. I would probably use this for something if I could get a few more of the little functional things working. So let me know, developer, if I can add stuff down into this panel here, and how I can get things into this files window here. If I could do those two things, I will give this a try for a week in production and see what I can do. That would be kind of fun. So anyway, that is our coming on back to ExternOS. Definitely coming along, and I want to know your thoughts about this distro. Is this something you would ever run? Is it something that you're just looking at going like, why? Or is it something that there's an intriguing place for somebody? Let me know in the comments down below.